This is later. Coming up now.
So.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Today is June 13th, 2024, and this is the meeting for the Design Review Committee. My name is Amy Kurtzky and I'm the chair. This open meeting of the Northborough Design Review Committee is being conducted in person and remotely, consistent with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. All members of the Northborough Design Review Committee are allowed to participate either in person or remotely. The Act allows the Design Review Committee to meet in person and remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream or the recording of this meeting may do so by going to the Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation. This meeting will not feature public comment. And it's now 8:40. Welcome. And I don't have to take attendance, right?
Nope.
Okay, I always forget. All right, first on the agenda is a continued discussion of the scorecard rubric. And I don't know if Mark or Lori wants to start. I don't remember where we left off.
I know I was supposed to update one thing and. I didn't.
Oh.
Cause I would have had to track down the original file, which she made some changes to it.
Okay.
That's never happened, so.
I wonder if we should kind of put this on the back burner, concentrate on the design guidelines, because then this is gonna change if the design guidelines are changed. So then,
Sure.
we would have to incorporate new things and change it
I
again.
forgot, look at it.
I guess as long as we get it for the next applicant, then
Yeah,
since we worked so hard on this, you'd hate to miss the next person.
true.
So if someone came in right now, it's probably good enough, I mean, to give to them before.
Yeah, my one question is that, there's one change that Michelle found. And then I don't think this latest version is all inclusive of everything that we've discussed. So do you want it to be a watered down rubric or do you want it to include everything?
Wouldn't you have like updates on it like you do everything else, so that you could go put this and then with updates to follow, or version A with other versions to follow, so that we know that as it's stated, that's what we're working with. And
Yes.
we could then have, at least it would be in place, and then you could put the add-ons, making this version the one that is current and usable and dated.
Yeah, we could do that. I don't know that we have any application coming forward in the near future. So of course we could, somebody could surprise me. But nobody has reached out to me, telling me that they're going to file soon. So I think we can afford to wait a little bit, especially if these design guideline changes are gonna be ready to go in the next month or so, then we can advance them to planning board and CBA for comments and then we could just do it.
There were
one
probably
time
some things in the
instead.
town meeting too that happened.
Yeah, I did include them in this version of the design guidelines, and Amy, I know, had included some of the sign changes, so,
Okay, so we'll go through this first.
yeah.
But if someone did come in, I would give it to them and say, go work off of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
And then
if
we'll-
somebody were to come in, I could always, we can update that one and just say, here, this is the latest version. It hasn't been finally approved yet, but this is what we're working on.
Mhm.
So, you know, why don't you pay attention to this when you design your project?
And like we said, most of them are bylaws, so it's like, they have to do them anyways, and it's easier than going through the book.
Oh, I totally agree. I think
Yep,
it's much faster. I had even used it to go through these design guidelines. And I noticed you had put in references and I'm like, oh, that's great. So I ended up doing that too for the updated ones.
Right, well, and I'll just show you this, I didn't have a lot of time, but I made 2 renditions of a possible rubric cover. So
Oh, okay.
what I used, we could only find blueprints for, the Abu Mall.
Mhm.
So, and I had another drawing of his that was like a hand sketch, and I wanted to take the hand sketch. And it's up here, but I wanted to create it here,
Yeah,
and so you could see from concept to completion. But I was having trouble with my Photoshop, so I couldn't get this to look like it was just hand drawn here.
oh,
Well, it kind of looks cool like that too.
it does, although I'm concerned about using that as the cover shot because it's in violation to the parking regulations because the parking is in front of the building.
Yeah, well, that's the bigger problem with all of them. I took pictures of, I had aerial shots of this, I had aerial shots of the dentist. And I talked about this too with Amy on when we did a tour of these different places, because most everything is like this. And maybe we have to consider changing some of that parking in front.
Well, we do already have it, it's already, remember, we had the whole thing with the bylaw change that says that you can't put the parking in front of the building, the nearest point of the building. So it's already in a regulation, so I think that building was built before the zoning changed. So at that time, you could put the parking in front of the building,
Right,
but I think we would want to put something on the cover that complies.
or,
In
Yeah,
every
good luck
way.
finding something.
yeah, that was,
Right.
that was the thing, finding something attractive, finding something that complied, and then that would have some history. This is one of the nicest malls we have.
Yeah, and the Hillside Grill complies, right?
Right,
Right.
so we could make a disclaimer that, you know, this was printed, this was 2005. If you wanted to do that, you know, for the time being, to try to find something, because we do have a couple of beautiful buildings, but they all have parking in front. Like
I
even
wonder
the
if
dentist office.
the new one that's under construction right now.
The white one?
The white one, next to the yellow building, that, I mean, it's a work in progress, but
It's not,
as it gets further along, it's compliant with our regulations,
But that's,
so.
isn't that building diagonal with the parking in front of the thing and, you know.
But they haven't built the parking yet, but it looks to me like the parking's gonna be to the side.
yeah,
behind the
it
building.
has to be to the side, there's no front.
Yeah.
To parking, but I wouldn't use that one. I mean, that would visually, it's not photographically, there's not enough space around it to create. My personal opinion, I'd rather see something where people are gonna recognize this from North Grove. They're not gonna necessarily recognize that building because of its location, it's.
Well, the concern that I have is they're gonna look to that as being an example of what we want, and right away, it's a violation. So if somebody were to come to me with a plan like that, I'd be like, you can't do that.
Wonder if we should talk about that this year too, like Marshall wanted to talk about, like, I know the whole plan in 2009 was to get the downtown, to have the parking behind it. But you look at things like that and then, as long as there's a buffer space between the parking and the road, is it a bad thing to have the parking in front? Like, cause we have all strip malls, we don't have the downtown Lake Hudson where you park behind it, you know, we have, and we don't even have on-street parking.
Well, right now, so if you have the parking in front, then you're presenting an image of an auto dominant area, so you know. And it's my understanding that that's what we're trying to get away from. So that is the current character of North Ware's business areas, and in some locations, that's okay, you know, if you're on the highway, then it may be fine to have the parking in front. If you're talking about Walmart or Northborough Crossing, then it's a really bad thing. But in the downtown area, we're trying to change the image, so instead of it being auto dominant, it's pedestrian driven. So you definitely don't want to have the parking in front. In the
Who
downtown
wants to do that? Because I see it as out of dominant and I don't see a problem with that. I mean, we used to have parking all down Main Street. It's kind of nice. You just park right in front of O'Brien's and go in.
I wonder if everywhere but downtown, like Business East, Business West, you still have parking in front, just because that's what everybody has right now. Like, I don't know if I can think of any thing over in Business East where the parking isn't in front, like even like, you know, the Tavern on the Square, that was new, Northborough Tavern,
Right,
that has the parking in the front, like if you look down that whole street,
yeah, it's all.
The parking
Yeah,
is
yeah,
all
I tried
up
to come
front.
up with a place, you know. I mean, build
So if
property
we
shop on the
force
other side, but
Right.
to do parking in front, it's gonna look like weird. Like it would be like Hillside, oh, not to make fun of Hillside, I love Hillside, the food and the people, but. It's funny when you have all the parking in front and all these buildings, and then you have one pull up to the street. And that might be the only one we get in the next 20 years.
Well, I mean, you gotta start somewhere, so if you're trying to change the image, I mean. Generally, it's good planning practice to have the parking in the back or in the on the side of the building, so then the building, I mean, in my opinion, looking at a sea of parked cars is not a very welcoming image. Like, I would rather see an attractive building and then the parked cars be, you know, obscured from the roadway.
but the key to finding a good restaurant is to look at the place with all the parked cars.
That's true. If you don't see a car, you don't know it's open. If you don't see a group of cars, you don't know it's well used. It's hard. I mean, it's hard because we're trying to change we're trying to change what we have, not everybody else's, but our downtown is not like everybody else's. So the hardest part is we have separate lots, little lots. Everybody has their own design of what they want their building to look like. They don't match each other. So the concept of what we would like to see may not be possible in our town. I mean, when you look at how the new pieces have come in. To be honest, I think only 50 Southwest Cutoff is one that does that have parking in the front? It certainly has it on the sides and the back. It must- yeah, it does have it.
The Abu has the parking towards the rear,
Which one?
the real estate office, the green building.
Yes, yep,
So
that,
they're an example of, so even the
The old
white
building,
building,
too.
the
Yeah.
doctor's office, they have the parking to the side. The white one that just was occupied. With the plastic surgeon office on the first floor. Next to the Bank of America.
oh, yep,
Brilla. That's another example of the parking being behind. I mean,
Same owner.
I've
Oh.
heard a lot of people complain about the layout of like the mini mart. And that's the parking is in front, so it doesn't meet the character of the rest of the buildings along that stretch. So I would argue that there's a number of businesses that are currently set up in conformance with the design guidelines. I mean, they may have been built years ago, but
Well,
they
let's say
still
before the
comply.
mini mart, there was the old 5 and Dime was right on the street, but you could also park on the street. You had hidden parking there, the turn lane wasn't there.
Yeah, but I mean, if I'm walking, I don't wanna walk through a parking lot to get to business. You know, I'd rather just go from the sidewalk into the business.
Well, it's fine because the only thing non-compliant about the Hillside Grill Plaza there is that the parking is in the back, but the doors are supposed to be on the front. So you do have to walk around the building.
Well, there are doors in the back though.
Yeah, well, there are, but
Yeah.
that's not what the code says.
when you
It's
get up
supposed
to
have
that lot,
front-facing doors.
yeah, when you get up to that lot, you're going into their front door, not their back door.
But it doesn't say exclusively that that's the way. Like, for
Well-
example, the Avidia Bank, I mean, they have They have a front door, and then they also have a side door.
Yeah, video's nice.
Was that, did you say something?
No.
What if a video could be the one here?
Well, we could do a number of things. I mean, this is a mock-up.
I did like this picture. though.
Even the, and like I said, the reason I use it is because I could get the blueprint on that. The one that I love, I took like 3 hours to take all the wires out of it, is this bank, not the bank, the dentist office on 50 Southwest, on Southwest Cutoff,
The new one.
290 or 372, 273.
273.
Yeah, 273. Yeah, I got it.
Southwest.
Yeah. That, I mean, it's just, this is really the most important thing. Any blueprint would work, but I just had these things.
Yeah,
together.
I really like the design. I think it looks really cool.
And you can, that's the great thing about designs, which I have the signage, you can change stuff around, I like this part, I like that part, so you can take what you like here. And what Mark had said, I do like this better with the Northborough and the date. You could even put the month so that you know which one it is if you wanted to do that. But this is lighter, so it's not taking as much, this becomes important and this becomes important. So you could change whatever you liked. So in the case of being the one in on Southwest Cutoff, it's got the building, it's got the grass, all right, on the side. But the face does go into the parking lot, it's just not from the street. So the street vision shows you this nice image here, and then you're parking this way. But unfortunately, parking is a problem, and the one thing we tried to do, it turned out very badly when it came to that hill. It's just never been right, it's probably the location of the mountain and cutting into a mountain.
Right, but that was probably the biggest
That was
thing.
probably the biggest thing, and a lot of times, you work with what you have, and people have the land and they have to work with that, so I think that we probably should at some point talk more about what the parking means to us, because it's a collective, it's the town, it's the way, whether people. When I go to Wegmans, I don't think of the fact I have to look at the building's pretty, I get to the building, it's a very attractive building, I have to park. So.
Yeah, and I think in some circumstances, like Northborough Crossing. Well, it doesn't make sense to put parking in the back where you have all the loading docks.
Right.
So that wouldn't work, and the same is true for pretty much any giant big box retail, you've got all those loading bays. So you wanna separate the cars from, the business of loading and unloading,
Right, yeah.
so. That makes sense, so I wonder if maybe. Although it would mess with your design, but maybe we could have an example of what. Like a highway business would look like versus a more downtown business, so we could show the two.
Sure.
Because the character is very different for the downtown than it is in the highway business. So-
Right, well, that's it, I mean, and the fact is that when you hand somebody something visually, they, this is what you're looking at, when you look at this page or look at this, that's the first thing, so now when I go to find it, it's easy for me to find.
Yeah.
It's in a group of papers, I can see this. With this one, it can get lost with so much white space.
Yeah.
So if this is under something and that's being covered, I'm not necessarily gonna find it quickly. And it could also go on it, I mean, this is done on a portrait, it could go on a landscape if that's gonna be read by landscape,
The rubric.
the rubric. I would love to see the rubric change so that it does go into a portrait and it's the PDF that Michelle and I had talked about, where it's readable this way.
Will it fit?
I don't know.
It would be,
It was-
I mean, you could.
It was hard to get it fit, the way we had it with the 11 by
Yeah, I
7.
know, I had each category on one page and I started to make them all fill a page and then
It's, see, I don't do a lot in Excel for art because it doesn't present itself well for art. It's like forever. And then what's great when you work on it, but when you're not, it's like visually speaking, what page is it on? You have to go further and further down, even on the computer.
it's 7 pages right now, right?
Yeah.
I think it would be a lot more pages if you had to
And is it that way because the Excel is where you check off stuff and you find the interaction with it?
Well, we need the different columns.
Yeah.
So basically, each text box is gonna get really tall. Because you're gonna have to make that column
I think
narrow.
it has to stay that way.
Yeah, I mean, what
And
we
you want
could
space
do
for
is
comment.
just not
Yeah,
put them together. We could do you could do like another cover for 11 by 17
yeah,
for
for
the
that,
matrix.
yeah, okay.
So then they're just companion documents, but not stapled together.
Okay,
You'll
So-
get more buildings.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying, with that, with doing it on the landscape, if we like this, we like the concept of maybe a blueprint and then maybe some
Well, you could.
examples.
Yeah. Well, you could do a booklet style where the Excel part spreads both pages and this part is on the vertical page.
You could, yeah, by just by stapling it in the middle and.
Yeah.
But then you're gonna,
Yeah, it's a pain.
yeah, it is, you wanna make it a little bit easier to work with, the designing is not difficult. You know, and having more room to work in, that's perfect, it's just, we needed to bring something.
No, I think it looks good.
So at least it
No,
gives you an
thank
idea.
you.
of what it is.
I think that, can I see it up close, just because I don't have glasses?
Yeah, no, I got mine.
So the one
Just
that
concept to
goes
completion.
to this
Yeah,
should probably just say design guidelines.
yes,
So
yes,
this one would be for the rubric,
right,
and then another one for the design guidelines
Yep.
themselves.
yeah, yeah, and have different picture on it, but I mean, what you keep is the art on the top that's got design review, and then the blocks underneath that has what that actual brochure is, or the catalog is,
Yeah.
and then the dates,
But that's a cool idea.
and,
I like the drawing up above versus the photo.
so I was trying to.
And this is the one that has the sketch.
Yeah, I'd actually like the sketch to be look like someone, you know, like, actually, and I just didn't have time to do it by hand.
Need a drafting kit?
Oh, I do, well, I have an old, my father's old, why, you're trying to get rid of it?
No, I have two.
Oh,
One's a light table.
the light tables,
I don't know if I'd write construction rubric. though.
yeah,
Like,
whatever
it's
you
not-
want,
Yeah,
whatever you want.
Oh, I know,
just-
fair enough.
I didn't
Well, I
want,
wouldn't use the word root either, because it's more of a checklist at this point.
well, whatever,
Put this
yeah,
into
Oh,
classified
scoring.
items, yeah. for
Yeah.
scoring. I mean, that will be the cover page hopefully generated from the checklist.
Yeah,
I wonder if we would say development checklist.
yeah, right on, right on.
That is
whatever you-
something.
yeah. I mean,
So this is the one we like best?
with, well,
With the date of.
I think I like the other logo on the other page first. And then we can put the concept to creation was what I was, or completion was what I was trying to do for a byline, and then I went, well, it's not the same kind of. It's
You
not.
should have used.
it's not an
the original
advertising
Grill as the
piece.
final one.
I should have brought the picture that I have
Oh,
of the design that it was supposed to be. And I don't know,
yes, that was so nice, it almost looked like you were in Saratoga.
I don't know if it was the
Do you
applicant
remember
or if it
the
was
name of the
design
town
review.
meeting that said that. About the hillside grill, maybe it was on Facebook.
I don't know.
I wonder if it should say concept to completion.
Yeah, it originally did. I had the whole thing, it was like from concept to completion, but I was like,
Concept to completion with the number is a trademark, because of the
Oh.
design show that they have in Marlboro.
is that right? So, yeah, you can use those to. Or maybe send it out to us if we have to do it that way, and everybody should just mock up, what they like, so, and if the date, do we put the date? Being because it will have editions, and it could say first edition, I could put it on just like we have a magazine, first edition. And then,
Well, they reference the bylaw year.
Unless we
Yeah.
change it too many times and it
Yeah.
takes up the whole front page.
well,
Like maybe it should say first edition on the inside, on the back cover.
that's what you see in the newspapers is first edition, and this is state, and it's very official,
I'd probably do it the same way here, so here they say July 2012,
okay,
so it could be like approved.
all right.
Yeah, but
Whatever. the
updated,
date
so it's
is.
not still July 2000.
Because every year it's gonna update with the town meeting,
Yeah,
and then you'll end up with dates. all
well,
over
the
place.
easy thing is this can be made into a document that you could just. You'll have to show me how to do that. But just change that, so it's on there, and then you can use that for the year.
Actually, maybe we should say July 2012 updated. You know, August
Yeah.
24 or whatever. So
Okay,
then
yeah,
you
yeah,
get
because that's
full
when it
dates,
started.
So that
Right,
was,
right.
yeah, so we know that, when the first edition came into place.
A couple of years after they did the bylaw changes.
Let's say 24 updated.
Okay, so next we'll go into, You
And you
want to
like-
look at the design guidelines, everybody has a copy, right?
Yeah, I just want to ask for quickly, do you
Okay.
like the concept to completion? Do you want
I
a
like
little
that.
bylaw?
Yeah, I like that.
Mark, you like that? No, number 2. Okay, I'll make
Sorry, I
this,
started reading. different.
all right, I'll make this in a landscape size, okay?
Yep,
And
That's a
that's,
good building. Yeah.
yeah, that's beautiful, I love that thing. And that's what, 11 by 14?
11 by 17.
17.
A lot of the buildings are like, if you look at the first on the left, on the second row,
Hmm.
see the downtown, they have a lot of them where they're facing sideways, so the front door is actually facing the parking lot.
Right, we have a lot of that, because we have these long skinny lots.
Right,
Yeah,
So-
but that, I mean, that's one of the things, as towns evolve, they go to sideways buildings with the lots in between.
so it's funny because across the street is 109 West Main Street. And they have the same thing, the building's parked sideways, so the door is facing the parking lot. But they don't have enough parking, so then all the
Yeah,
cars
it's-
park all the way
I
up
don't
the
know.
driveway.
If there was enough space between the buildings, they had enough parking, that's probably the best layout, where you have the parking in between the buildings. Front's all on the street, and you put a false entry on the front, but, or, you know. or-
Well, that, yeah, I do love that. I love that whole building. I like the way it, you know,
The yellow one.
yeah, that's the less yellow.
This one here. I don't
Next.
remember what that is.
It's up by Bartlett Street.
It's
Now it's
now,
solar. Amity Solar.
yeah, now it
It was an ice cream
was a
place.
beautiful flower and ice cream place.
What is it now?
I think it's EM, like
They
ETY,
do siding and stuff.
siding and solar.
Mm,
Final sign?
yeah.
I
That-
won't talk about that.
Yeah, this is an attractive building.
I don't even
This
know what
is-
that building is.
That's
Tim
on
Shays
Route
building.
20, isn't it?
Well, it's not Tim Shays anymore.
Yeah,
No,
it's
that's
next
on,
to that
that's
ice
Main,
cream,
yeah.
proposed ice
Yeah.
cream.
I don't know what it is though, what's in there?
I think it's mixed use.
Yeah, I think it's apartments.
Oh.
but
It was
it's
mostly
maybe
apartments.
Commercial down. first floor.
But I've never seen I don't know what the businesses have ever been in.
This guy's
Yeah.
still there. I remember.
But
So
no,
it's
that's-
multi-family exclusively.
Yeah, yeah, and that was beautiful. He did a nice job. I don't know if Abe had designed it. But
Yeah, it's definitely an attractive building. So,
And then if we did something like, I don't know, maybe if we wanted to go take this away and use the dentist on Southwest Cutoff. If you wanna list, on the back photograph of so and so, the builder or whatever, give somebody a little bit of a shout out. And ask them if they mind if we could use their photos. That's the next question, was gonna go, okay, who do you go to with Abe's company? Do they still have the company for their buildings? Do you know?
His wife owns everything now, I think.
So is this still Enable Construction that actually does the,
I don't know, I haven't heard anything since he died,
yeah,
so.
Yeah, keep
Nobody's reached out to us, so I'm not sure what the status.
did a beautiful building inside of it. Really impressive. Like Kevin Giblin was like that.
He did the yellow one too.
Yeah, did he?
All right.
All right. Go to the design guidelines. And I didn't look through all the beginning of the design guidelines to see if there were changes. We could all read them in between meetings, but
So I did email last night real quick, asking that question that Bob had talked about parking, or there was parking that you had added or some language there that was,
Yeah, so what I did is I went through the last 2 years' town meetings. And I added The ones that were approved this year and the last year.
So
So the one about the parking to the nearest point, I put that in here.
Mhm.
Let's see what you said. Can't remember,
I think the first, page 7 has the first change.
Good call.
yeah, page 20 is when he, yeah, signs on the awnings. Well, I'll have to take care of that. Vinyl signs prohibited and plastic signs discouraged. Show examples. Signs off when the business is closed.
You show examples in that because that's what I got confused about with the vinyl sign. And then something different to me.
What about that?
Should we?
Well, we should start at the beginning.
Okay,
Page-
all right.
What's page
All right,
7?
so just the pin on the parking is the handicap parking.
You know what it's got, I mean, I think the purpose, you might need some updating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the master plan, some of it, they've got some good bullet items in there that might be nice work in here, they're very similar.
All right.
And we were gonna talk about New England architecture, weren't we?
Yeah, because I just noticed that's still in that purpose,
Yeah,
so.
we were gonna define New England architecture or something.
And put that page like that. Remember that art, the drawing page? The
Yeah,
one
the
that,
little leaflet.
the pamphlet that Mark has.
Yep, that,
Put together.
there's some definitions in that way too.
Well, the problem I still think the pamphlet is all showing residential architecture, and this is for commercial, I mean, it also covers multifamily, but I think it's gonna be confusing, making people understand what the expectation is for commercial buildings. And there just isn't a heck of a lot out there. So that's my concern about using the New England. It's not clearly defined,
Yeah.
at least
And
online.
it really encompasses so much, many
Right.
different styles too.
But it's, well, there's, I
But-
mean,
but-
there is something to
But
say,
those periods, yeah, go.
yeah, this,
Let's start with colonial, whatever they call it, or they call it like medieval revival or
oh,
something.
oh.
And then they got Victorian, well, how do you translate that into an office building? Like, I think that it wouldn't be helpful to include the designs of historic buildings, show a building from 1905, that's a Victorian, that's a house. And say, we want you to adhere to this when they're coming for, an office building
Yeah,
or
it's really just the
retail
facade
or
of,
mixed use.
The old Gale store was Greek revival
Mhm.
pillars. And that was just the front of the building, because not, the rest of the building didn't try to capture that.
You know, it's a good example of all of that was this Shrewsbury with the Christmas tree shop. And I did take a picture of it. Every one of those faces was either the salt box or they had some different things. It was done in a little bit of a modern setting, but it was still the same thing. It was still the shape. And it showed the arch and it showed some things like that. So then again, we get down to the fact that we have to give people something to go on, because when you don't, then that's where the problem comes in. Well, in the 1950s, diners were all the thing, therefore being a diner is in New England, that's what's the problem? When the people who are in a room saying, okay, this is kind of the look that we're looking for, just as parking is. If you have an office building, you're not gonna have the same kind of parking expectation that you have in the downtown area. It's just never gonna happen. Because when I think of Westboro's office park and you go in there and it's down with all the trees and the landscaping and then these 6-story buildings that are big and square, they have a parking area that grasp around the parking area is in front of the building normally. That's just the natural order of business. Here's where I walk to the front door. I don't wanna walk all the way around to get to the front door.
Right.
And see, and I think I mentioned that before, where there was handicap parking for a restaurant that we have on Main Street in Business East. And people have to park on the back for handicapped. And then there's a ramp in the back, but the back door's not open. put the bang on the door. I mean, I sat there at the restaurant watching it. It was really uncomfortable.
Well,
It's bad
there was
weather.
a recent change, I forget what town. It was Acton or something like that, but they allowed handicap parking. Yeah, in the front of the building, handicap parking, EV charging stations. And shuttle buses in the front of the building,
Right,
but they limited it 10% of the total parking,
right,
which is, you hit that number quick.
right. And I mean, I think handicap, absolutely. To me, EV, no. Why would you, why?
No, because the code is
Yeah,
changing.
yeah, the code is
It's
building,
mandated.
it's like 20% now.
Yeah, so they have to do the
In the front?
EV. Oh,
No, I know.
no,
But
not
you need,
necessarily.
you need a lot of spaces, and Bob was talking about it with the fire station.
Yeah, 11,
Yeah, 11 for.
which is,
Yeah.
we need to write and ask for variance on that though. But that's what I'm
Just one,
saying, it's,
they need to be there.
yeah, the visual of what we'd like to see, you know, generally speaking from the different people that come up and say things to us, and what they'd like to see is something attractive. Well, an EV unit in the front, for me, it's like, this is something that I, you know. It's like putting on your makeup, you should be doing that in the
I
back
agree,
room.
that should be in the back, because also. People are leaving their cars there for a
Right.
significant amount of time, so
Yeah.
that they can charge them.
Yeah,
So you don't wanna put that in the front. When it could go to cars that are gonna be in and out, like
Right,
at CVS, you know,
yeah, that's
they're
just,
leaving every 10 minutes. That's
yeah.
probably the type of parking you want up front.
Yes, so, you know, and that's why I'm saying maybe we have to make some alterations on parking with lots where they're located, what we have available. What expectations people have and, you know, with the handicapped accessibility is, you know, always downplayed, like there's not every restaurant. Or whatever buildings don't have to have any if they're less than 10. Bob, I'd asked Bob about that in one of the.
Less than
lots.
10 parking spaces.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which,
Yeah, like
right?
affordable housing, less than 10.
And it's, and still it's unfair, I mean, if you want somebody to come.
Yep. All right, cool.
All right,
Yeah, keep moving on.
So I
There are good points.
I had changed something on page 5. So I just included the new highway business southwest, so I did that on page 5 and page 6.
On page 5, where it says business east, business west, maximum front setback, is that 75 feet? Is that?
Yeah,
Wow, that's
that
pretty
was
far back.
not correct in the table. So 75 feet is what the zoning says.
That's weird.
It is
That's
very
super far back.
Mhm.
We should probably fix that in zoning, because who wants a building 75 feet back on business east or business west?
it was 75 feet to do that.
Right, most of the lots are so small. They would have to all get waivers. Although it is the maximum. Oh, so I see, because it's maximum, so you don't want it super far back, it's not minimum.
Oh, anyway. Did you want to say something about the introduction?
Well, no, I think we should think about it.
Yeah.
There's 3 good points that came out of the. Downtown planning, the master plan. That they put some thought into wording on them. The first 2, just going off the top of my head, one was, you know, the theme of the town.
So one would be the theme.
Yeah,
Yeah, so if you can think about that in between, and I might read the Medway again, Medway has design review guidelines that are huge, but they talk about New England architecture for like first 5 or 6 pages.
Yeah.
But I'll see if there's something we can pull out that, you know, says, you know, we don't want like super modern buildings, but. Oh, look,
Okay, so I'm gonna write this one too, so. On the purpose. Mark, you're gonna get some
Yeah.
language?
yeah, there were two basic themes of the town. One was that it was, you know, mostly a better, they didn't use those words, but
Mhm.
single family housing, with New England style, supported by. The second one was like trails and open space,
Mhm.
and then the other one you have to improve would be, you know, affordable housing.
Okay.
Because you wanna do those two, but not they contradict, the balance.
It's interesting when we go into the affordable housing and what I think Westbrook's just doing now. They're building small houses, not tiny.
But that isn't for
houses,
the street, they
trailers.
go on with this.
Hmm?
I just, cause I have to leave at 10.
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely want to talk
Alright.
about that too, but I have to finish this book. I
Okay.
wanna like, sorry,
We have 2
I
minutes.
don't wanna go into affordable housing now, but I agree, but.
Yeah.
So, then we go to page 7. And pedestrian accommodations, and those you added, Lori, those were part of.
Those are what was approved at the town meeting, so I just wanted to have them reflected here.
That's good,
In the purple.
the blue, yeah, well, yeah, yours are purple, mine are blue,
Ooh, here.
that's weird.
Ink must be on there.
That's cute.
Here's the-
Okay, and then page 9 is a
So right at the
parking,
low.
So I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I did it with our new changes. And then on page 10, I added the highway business stuff last. You know, I wonder, when we get to this section. So of course, the whole White Cliffs, you know,
What page you on?
liability with the town hall. I wonder if it would be helpful to include something about additions to historic buildings and what those should look like. Or, you know, how it should blend. Or
We do reference the handbook, right, in here.
Yeah.
So,
the Department of the Interior.
yeah, I mean, cause that's really the one that spells it out, so.
Mhm.
And this is perfect as an example of New England and modern.
we're all in
Page
different
On
pages.
10, are you not on 10?
That's the,
We're on the store.
Oh, you went to the next page?
well, that's,
But that one looks, that's, to me, that's New England, the yellow one that's on the left.
yes.
Where is that building? Is that? in-
South Row, it's
Oh.
it's
South-
Porterville,
Porterville, yeah.
Porterville corner,
Okay.
used to be a restaurant. And they.
It's not, oh, yeah, okay, cause it is restaurant.
Yeah, it was Eddie Carnes.
And that kind of reminds me of the North Grove Tavern. In a way.
Yeah,
Bigfoot Tavern.
yeah, that's kind of that, look, that to me is pretty close.
This one's right on the street and the parking is across the street.
How does
That's
it work?
because they had to do that, yeah.
Does that work, or people have to cross that street?
Well, they get there. I mean, that,
There's probably some parking beside it, I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm
So
trying-
maybe is behind.
I mean, yeah, Commuter lot is right,
yeah, it was a postage stamp lot, they put all the on there, but they owns it land across the street.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, I would think the parking would have to be on the same parcel as the building.
Well, we may get to that.
yeah, and they say this was, they rebuilt the building, kept it.
Yeah, this is 3 times the size of.
But it's also right next to a commuter lot, so.
Right.
Oh.
Or the train station, so they get a lot of business from people coming off the train.
Yeah,
I wonder if here under historical on page 11, so they've got the picture of the original library.
Yep,
Why don't we include a picture that includes the addition? So people can see how they took a historic building and they did a sensitive addition to it. One of those pictures of encouraged.
could be. A lot of, I think the,
so underneath, so I would leave the sketches and then add under encourage the new picture.
well, yeah, because you're gonna have a different category anyway, it's gonna
Well,
be.
we know we have to get rid of the discouraged and children.
That's in Marlboro.
That's in Marlboro,
Is that in Marlboro?
yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
okay,
it's
that's
okay,
good.
as long as we don't have any
That's
Northborough buildings and discouraged.
Right,
How embarrassing for them, you know?
right.
I like the Mona Lisa door, it's better than purple.
So you have a different category for that, for additions.
I would just add under the encourage, so another picture just under here.
Yeah,
And it would just show the library with the addition and then say, addition that is sensitive to historic or something like that.
okay.
Any other good examples of that? I mean, the library is definitely a good one.
No, White Cliffs would have been discouraged, right, because those additions weren't sensitive.
Yeah. Well, plus, yeah, they weren't even structurally sound.
Um,
Other kitchen.
There was another one, trying to
Worst case scenario, look at this one.
I wonder if-
60s edition.
Well, this
It's
isn't renovation that they're showing too, with the Church Street.
I
It's a
don't,
successful renovation, probably the back.
no, it's inside. Well, wait a minute, the end piece might be.
Oh, is that what the Johnstone House?
No, the Encourage is the one on the Church Street.
Yeah,
This is,
Yeah.
isn't this our
It's the
Encourage?
Johnstone.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is? I thought
Well,
that
that's
was
what
an
the sign says,
acronym.
it's- well, that's a
That's
different
what I'm thinking.
Johnstone.
Okay,
It's common name.
that's what I think of, but I love, that's a beautiful building. I love what they've kept it.
yeah, but it's,
This beige one you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Is that an
Yeah,
addition?
it is.
that's,
The only part I
The
think
back
is
one.
an addition is the back, and if not, it's the inside. But no, even a restaurant, that the great little sandwich shop, with specialties.
Oh, they put a sandwich shop in
Yeah, so you should go, but you should go when you have a little bit of time.
there? Oh, yeah.
It's an experience, and it's wonderful, and it's.
Is that the tea place?
Yeah.
specialty.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought it was a place that sold tea.
No, no.
No,
I
you
had no
drink it.
idea it was a restaurant.
Great sandwiches and like.
maybe that's why they're always looking for business. Because they have put out a couple things that they really need business, but I wonder if people think it's just a tea shop.
Yeah.
Maybe they should
I've
advertise
never gone because I
specialties.
thought it was just a tea shop.
Yeah.
Oh, you too?
Yeah,
And my wife is gone, but she goes with the women and hang out.
Yeah, they should
Yeah.
probably say,
Tea,
sandwich shop.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can call in advance and get your sandwiches and your melts and things
See,
like that.
They have cucumber sandwiches.
I think
Well,
they
I think
may.
they do. But that doesn't make it bad.
I'm
Just need a
saying,
lot of
like,
cucumber.
the cute little shop that was behind the old Glory.
Yeah.
Business. Oh, that was
Right.
fun. I got some beautiful wreaths there.
Yeah, she's had beautiful.
They already have a new one opening or
Really?
I forget, I saw it on Facebook posted coming soon and it was the same building, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, wow. Good.
I'll have to look it up.
Right,
All right,
All
so
right,
we're gonna put in,
so I put that metal or fiberglass, comment from the zoning bylaw in there. Yeah, so this is probably the time when we wanted to find New England, we wanted under here. Or in the beginning.
And the materials.
okay, or we can do it both places.
and yeah, so that's the back of the library.
Hey, do you think that looks historical?
Well, it's not all glass, which I don't like.
I like the combo of the historic building, like how they use the same design on the siding.
Yes,
So it's the same color. And the window sizing is kind of similar.
Yep.
And then they've got the decorative roof line.
The roof line, I always thought that the
Personally, I
long
think-
narrow windows are contemporary.
well,
It's definitely a contemporary, but I think that this is totally my opinion. I think that they did a good job of mimicking certain architectural features to make the addition blend with the historic building. Clearly, the historic building is historic and the rest of it is not historic,
Mhm.
so I think it's clear that there's an addition. But I think it looks, I think it looks beautiful. I think they did a really nice job of blending historic and modern together. You know, if it works.
it's one of the better. And like I said, it isn't this, oh my God, it's so different, that's why we do it, it's so different.
Yeah, but I mean,
really want it
the
so different.
transition
I think
is
it's better.
there.
Yeah, that's. Right,
And I know the handbook encourages the transitional corridor between the two.
Okay, so we're okay with that page?
Mhm. We'll make a couple changes if we have to add in the New England. After we read up about the New England.
Well, I think we also, on the checklist, we added a lot of bylaws that are specific to a particular zone, that maybe should go in here because they're considered guidelines townwide. That aren't captured here.
You think of any,
Well, the one I can think of, which probably would have changed the design of how Maple Street was gonna be done, was if you're multifamily in a residential area, that you should try to make it look like it fits in the neighborhood. Well, the challenge to do architecturally.
Well, actually, the two families across the street just look like regular colonials,
Yeah,
so you can do it.
yeah, well, let's say the original house did it, I mean.
Yes,
it
the
was-
original house definitely, well, because it was made for.
Yeah, but I mean,
Farm,
okay.
but yeah,
But there's tricks, you know,
Yeah.
you have a shared entryway and then the doors on the inside,
Right.
different things. like
right, I agree.
Alright. We've got our 15. Once again, we added the language from our zoning bylaw change.
that.
No, those are distance. We have distance, we have computer, we have close.
They have laser surgery to that.
I've had that too. And they have new contacts that actually are adjustable.
so for 16, I added, now this isn't a. Bylaw, but it seems like something we've been trying to do downtown, we added planters where there's no room for landscaping.
Right.
So this is just a guideline, it's not forced.
Mhm.
But it just says in a district lacking space for in-ground landscaping, features such as planters are recommended.
Right.
And, you know, I didn't say shall be, but I wrote recommended. And then I was gonna take away the picture of the discouraged, because I included the cellar down there.
Well, I
because-
would do, can you, do you have a 28mm that you can do this on the other side of the road, get rid of all those
Yeah,
wires?
I know, that's why I said, there's two ways of doing it, one, you can spend 5 hours.
So
checking
then
them out.
the picture's not in
Okay,
the
you're
proper
really
place. But I couldn't get it. Every time I moved the picture, the whole page went out of whack.
For this one?
Yeah, so I threw this picture in, but I don't want it under discouraged. I wanna move it over here.
So you wanna eliminate discouraged altogether?
I was thinking eliminate discouraged and then just have encouraged.
Yeah.
And then it can all fit on one page, because I did have another example, and both were from the cellar,
Hmm,
where they use planters versus,
I like that,
Where is that?
that's the cellar,
The
it's
cellar.
the old Northborough State
Oh, okay.
Loft.
and then as you go into the driveway, they have birch trees that are up
They've
on.
really
on
done a
the
good job.
Transition,
Their
Oh, that's
landscaping.
it's really good, it's very,
Where's
very
the
nice.
cellar?
CJ used to do?
Oh, I
It's
don't,
where?
I don't think so.
It's over by Monty's Pizza.
It's underneath Monty's Pizza,
Okay.
actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna drive by
And
someday,
they
they do a really good job.
Big
Parking
it's
is
great, but
crazy.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
Yama.
But that's
Yeah.
because it's good, so you know the parking lot is full.
Yeah, it's always full.
It's always packed.
But it's, they did such a great job during COVID. I mean, you go down there, it feels like you're in a whole different place. I mean, it's been there since I was.
And what's funny is you can't see it from the street,
You can't.
but it still draws a crowd.
Right, but you should, again, it's a place to go.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. It's, as you come in at night, I love it at night because the lights are shining up on these big birch trees that are coming. It's just, you just don't even feel like you're at Yamas.
It doesn't open till 4.
We need to expand my,
We'll eat there too, because the food is. good.
I go to the same places all the time, Northborough House of Pizza, Pickle House, Northborough House of Pizza, Chicker. We go to the Mexican place.
Yeah.
quite a bit.
This doesn't open till 4,
Yeah.
so it'd have to be a Thursday night.
Yeah.
And it's not takeout worthy, you'd have to sit down. Then you'd never go to planning board after.
But
Yeah.
it's really worth, I mean, you know, something I think it would be lovely for us to highlight different businesses.
Yeah.
And to bring them up so that, you know, we talk about economic development with arts and everything else, but when you have a place that people don't really know that's, you know, what they're offering. So you do a little, we could do it on, you know, online, we go in, you
Well,
do,
that's
take a
gonna take the
video.
wait time
Yeah.
longer. I want that.
We have to go at different times, every place is.
They also did COVID outside dining, but then they've screened it in, it's glass.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, outside there,
Yeah, it was under construction last time.
Oh,
there's glass, on the outside now.
okay.
All right, so you started with the change to the lighting and then I just
Oh, good.
put in the
Yeah. what it said.
official, the official compliant language.
I just did this super quick, so I didn't go back and read all the town meetings.
Can we bold the dark lighting, being compliant? Use it night lighting.
So that's good.
Do we get,
What's this picture? That you see?
The
Just a
lights.
page with one
oh,
picture.
that Mamie wants to put that on the other page.
Yeah, I
wouldn't
just
let her
wasn't
do
good.
it. That's the planters in lieu of grass.
Yeah,
Oh,
those are the planters at the cellar, because they don't have a space for ground.
I wonder if under the utilities and mechanical equipment, we could also take a picture of how somebody has screened those utility boxes in a nice way.
Yeah, that would be very nice.
I was wondering if we could talk to some of the people who have the discouraged look to encourage them.
Well, most of them aren't from our town.
Huh?
Most of the pictures aren't from.
Well,
our
if you
town.
drive, and they've been really good, the mobile station, like she's putting up flowers.
Did you see?
And she's
They got
really
all the
working.
hanging planters, I'm like, whoa, somebody got the message over here.
Good.
Yeah,
It's
So I'm
like
wondering, yeah.
The service station with the greatest number of flowers I've ever seen in my life, so.
well, have you gone to Sunoco across from the town common?
Oh, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, they have tons of flowers.
Yeah,
Oh, did they?
They almost look like they're turning into a floral shop.
yeah, ton of flowers, yeah, I saw that last week, and I'm like,
I flew in and I used it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks great.
yeah,
They-
yeah, they probably,
You know
people
what
give
you
them
could do?
compliments.
I noticed this on the way in, we have encouraged where the dumpsters are enclosed.
Yeah.
Out back.
We know, we are not a good poster child for what we should be doing.
Except for the landscaping, I noticed on the way in.
Oh,
Yeah,
it- Robo
that's
does such a
amazing.
great
Plus,
job.
plus they're Republic dumpsters, so that's probably changing.
But I was wondering if we talked to the mobile station, because they're doing such a great job. Now, if they could just put a fence there where all the dumpsters are.
In the back, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're not supposed to have all the stuff they have back there either. You're not supposed to have any storage, you're not supposed to have car storage.
The woman seems very open to talking though, so. It might be,
I'll let you tackle that one.
Julianne's on a first name basis with them.
Oh,
I'll let her go. Okay.
Stuff.
I left the awnings, like I considered, because the awnings, we didn't have at this year town meeting. But there have been some awnings put up anyway, so it's like maybe we should have them. Yeah, well, the Northford Tavern has one and. You know, cause people are still putting up awnings, like, so maybe we should leave this. It's not promoting awning signs.
What happened with the one that, Lori Cummings place?
She can't
Oh,
do it,
have-
she has a porch.
She has a porch.
Well, yeah, say, I remember we're talking about then driving by the building and saying there's a porch.
Yeah, there's no, you can't have both, you can't have a porch and an awning on a porch.
Yeah, she hasn't put up her signs yet, so
Yeah.
I wonder what they're gonna do.
Yeah, is it open now? Is it actually open? It looks like it's
You
open.
think
Looks
it's-
like it is,
Oh,
yeah, she's got all the stuff in the window and the lights on. There's like posters of.
I don't know.
it's a plastic surgeon.
Say something, yeah.
I'd almost wait myself until it's in. Cause we have to define awnings and stuff, even though that they have it. I mean, we're gonna have additions, right?
I think that they're allowed currently, I don't think they're prohibited, what's prohibited is awning signs.
Yeah,
So awnings themselves are
Have
allowed.
they always been
Yeah.
allowed?
yep. It's part of the building
But,
code.
but this, it can say what the name of the building and the address,
No, that's
Okay.
not allowed yet.
really,
We were gonna do it this year's
Says-
town meeting, but
oh.
next,
the encouragement has that.
I know, it's not allowed now though. There are a couple of things in town where
Yeah,
it's not allowed, but they just do it and.
Well, that makes sense, I mean, if you have an awning that's retractable that covers your sign, you know, you probably wanna put it there too, so.
well, it's usually above it, but this
Yeah, well,
picture
this
for me
picture
is not, there's no way we're ever gonna get anything to look like that here.
We should probably change our
Oh, yeah.
examples so that the awnings don't have words. And so that's
You can
allowed.
make the old Northville National Bank building look like that. Well, yeah, when the traffic is redone, get rid of that extra lane.
To the right of Millie's.
That beautiful little,
No,
brick-
we're Gillespie.
Oh,
That building, the old historic pictures had awnings in the
On
front
the
and
second-
storefronts.
on the
No,
second floor,
no,
oh.
I don't know, it looked just like that.
Yeah, you know what, and that's what 4 West Main used to have too,
Yeah,
so that was kind of the style downtown. which is
Okay.
Very
So
cool.
Lord's
Well, then
idea
it's
is to
like-
leave the awnings, but just take the one with the word off. We'll find awnings without words on.
All right, well, then you're gonna have, the only one to keep on this one is the stripe.
yeah, but
there
that
might
one's
be-
not really.
Sure, I can find it. Well, even down here, well, it's also striped. Probably be good to find something that's not striped.
Right.
There's gotta be some more awnings in town. You can't think of them all.
And I can always Photoshop this out. The building looks great, that, this can be redone, this photo can be redone, taken it a day early in the morning when there's no cars.
But the Northbrook Tavern one, so
Yeah.
you're saying that one doesn't comply?
No,
I mean-
Because it's got the Northbrook,
But that's not advertising, that's,
Yeah, but
Standing
it's
right-
Well, that's what we're trying to bring forward.
right, and I have to admit, with Mark saying, where else would they put their name? Like,
Right.
Look at the building.
Well,
yeah,
that's,
that's the design of the building.
that's what we were about to bring forth this year, but
Yeah.
then. I had this, I'll show you, as like I had encouraged and discouraged. I had to go back, I take too many pictures.
I could probably steal some picture. You took a picture
Yeah.
of an awning in Hudson. Maybe you can send me that.
And this I wanted to use for discouraged. Because I thought it was too busy.
Yes, I saw that somewhere, oh, that's in Hudson,
This is in Clinton.
oh, Clinton.
Yeah.
But that's what I wanted discouraged, but then when I brought it forth to the planning board, one was like, I love that, we should be able to do that, and then like, oh no. We can't do awning signs if this is what's gonna happen.
Right. Yes, yeah,
That's almost like a billboard.
yeah.
Any legal secrets around, I guess, that.
Okay, so we'll find some
Okay.
pictures.
You know who else has a ton of awnings is Concord's downtown.
Yes, yeah. I have a friend who has a jewelry store down there, who has awnings that,
Yeah, well, as long as there's no words on it, maybe she can take a picture and send it.
is 90.
Can I send you a picture?
But I have
of the
taken
awning on the
pictures of
Second
it.
floor, just to prove it does exist. It did in 1912 anyway.
All right, so that's another one, but I still like this picture though, maybe you could, we could put a disclaimer.
No.
For a waiver on,
Well, I mean, if we go forth with a new sign bylaw. And add awning signs, but say it can only be in the name of this, like a lot of towns have, it's only the name of the restaurant. Or like
The street address,
I
the,
mean-
street.
the number.
the number, and it can only cover like 20% of the.
right,
awnings,
right,
like-
yeah, that's really important too, because I have seen that and you think.
Yeah,
It
you
wasn't
want it on the
somewhere
front
that
edge.
was like this thing like that was.
You know who has some awnings is Clinton, the Clinton Grill. They have it, but it's just their symbol. Like they don't even have the word or the number, it's like a little symbol.
Yeah, that's not bad either.
I think it could be really tasteful having it in the awning. I
Yeah,
actually really like it.
I just
Yeah.
would like a compliance of you have to keep them up, because when they're broken and they're falling apart,
I had a couple of pictures of that.
yeah, that should be not.
Okay. So for signs, this is all new writing that we have done.
Yeah, me too. Fine, so Bob had some comments on this page.
I don't know if I saw that email.
Well, it's on there.
You said
Yeah.
remove
Oh.
planning board from
It's not
arrow
red.
5.
She just said, see comments. Well,
Which shall make recommendations to the planning board. So maybe which shall make recommendations to the applicable special permit granting authority, I think,
Yeah,
that's what he's saying.
SPGA.
Vinyl signs prohibited and plastic signs discouraged. Show examples. Sign.
We talked about the word plastic, because plastic is
well, vinyl is
Medium.
plastic.
it is, but you should be more specific, because the signs that I'm gonna bring up. Those aren't wood, they're made out of like a polyurethane actually.
I know what he's talking about. What he's talking about is, or what you originally were talking about are the like vinyl flags that
Yeah,
people put up
banners.
to temporarily, you know,
Banners.
they're temporary signs.
See, I would call
And
those
they use
banners,
them
not
permanent.
signs, so.
Yeah, I
And I think Bob does
Because they
too.
used to be called, they used to be made out of painted canvas, so vinyl's just the modern replacement of that.
But there are a
But they
couple of
printed it.
businesses where those have become their permanent signs.
That's true, yeah, I just saw it yesterday when I
yeah.
went to take some pictures and
I
stuff.
was looking at them, but they also have advertisement on it too, because.
Right,
Right,
that should be more of an enforcement thing, right?
Yes, and there's a perfect example of a really ugly one, and nobody can take a picture of.
okay.
Do you think Bob would wanna enforce those vinyls? Once we finish this, we can give the store the new,
I think we go to the stores, we give them a little welcome to that, and this is what we might be thinking of doing to get your name out there a little bit more, and that, and oh, by the
We
way.
allow painted signs on the, like if it's brick-based building, if they did,
Oh, that was, I wanted to ask you that question, because I took some pictures, because you changed it that it wouldn't be allowed.
because I saw it in the bylaws,
oh, okay.
but I think it's a
There are
good
couple
idea
of
and stuff.
examples of
Yeah.
painted on the facade.
Yeah, it looks good.
The only reason why I did it is because it's what our
Or
bylaws
at
say.
least the feature is good, so.
Well, where's
And just signs,
Where was
We
it?
didn't have something we wanted to change.
That's painted.
That's in Hudson.
Oh, well, that's not
Both of
bad,
them are
because
in
that to
Hudson.
me looks like it's the sign, but I was coming through Wayland. And they've painted a big literal pizza on the side of an antique house. Because they made it into a restaurant,
So it's like a mural.
it's like a mural of just a big pizza and it's awful, it's like, ew.
so if you go to 112 E2, it says no sign shall be painted or posted directly on the exterior surface of any wall.
Hmm.
What happens with like the gas station that has the mural?
What about it?
That's not a sign,
But it's not a
right?
sign, yeah,
Okay.
it's a mural.
Alright.
Okay, well, if that's what it currently says, then
I have,
we have to leave it that way.
I took some good pictures in Scotland of, store signs that were just,
I think you
Stalling
sent them
for
to
time.
me.
I sent them to you.
Yeah. But again, it's,
yeah.
it depends on where it's
See
located.
that?
It looks good.
And it's a brick wall around a factory that's a really ugly factory, but they made it like a tourist spot, you know, people were going
Yeah, I like that.
for, so.
And that's the way it used to be, like when you drive on 290 through Worcester, you can see the old historic mill buildings with the signs
Yeah,
painted.
yeah.
And now they're like all
Pretty cool.
faded.
I mean, if they're done by a good artist.
Right, that's where it,
We'd have to like improve the artwork or something.
right. Cause you could get like a liquor store, which
Big-
you say get the
big-
Budweiser here, but it could just be random.
Big problem with doing this is you have a beautiful brick background. And that background, once you take these signs off, you've lost the brick. It's painted forever.
Yeah,
And
but they could just paint it if they wanted to.
And
They
it
could
comes
paint
stupid.
white.
yeah, it just, that's what we have in the Gillespie building down there, it's painted white on top.
These all say tenants
the
because
building
it was
was-
the tenants factory.
Just
Oh,
because
cool.
red brick road, because I mean, I've worked in brick and I painted on brick and I've even painted brick over to look like brick. Because of being white, so gray and spots and red, and it's very time consuming to try to bring it back to life.
No, I agree, but I don't think we have any regulations saying that you can't paint brick, nor would. I wouldn't want to go that far with regulations.
Say no
period.
painting, no painting brick,
Yeah, I mean,
because you get, then you
People
lose your
can
store.
paint their houses or the buildings any color they want to.
Yeah, sometimes you do have to paint brick if it's been sandblasted or something, you protective layer, so you have to at least seal it somehow.
Well, again,
Depends on the brick.
you get back to brick and, you know, painting chimneys and stuff, and it deteriorates the brick and the mortar.
Right, those are usually old chimneys, like, you know, across the street, and there's some, they painted them white, because those are old clay bricks that sunbaked.
Right, but it's still, I mean, that's why a lot of these chimneys fail on the old houses, because of the paint. So I would be, I mean, you could do a wrap, you could do like a wrap on the building that could be, not shiny, but clear in certain areas, like this would be clear. This could be the artwork, and it could be laid on the brick that way.
It has to be vinyl.
Well,
Right?
you're gonna have to decide when it comes to like window wraps and like that, because that's.
So I did change the bullet number 7 to include windows. It's
Starts with common,
yeah, it's if the first line is completely cut. So common recommended durable sign options include wood, composite materials, stone, copper, brass. Or painting and engraving directly onto a window surface.
I crossed out galvanized steel, I didn't know what that was.
That's
Yeah, yeah, no, I believe you, the first thing I thought of was,
Yeah, no, the good place.
Since we didn't pass that plastic is prohibited, I just wrote discouraged.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so will galvanized steel
Okay,
sign.
gotta get-
did you get a,
Well, it's that looks nice. That's Mitch.
did you get a quote out? Are you looking for someone to give you a quote? Ooh, went to the hospital.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
that's when you use a utility knife instead of.
What is that? Oh, that's galvanized painted?
Yeah, galvanized
Huh?
steel
Yeah, you didn't
sign.
cut anything.
Yeah, and those look
It's like,
fine.
that's the first
I was
thing.
picturing, I was picturing a shiny metal sign.
Lights around.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
yeah,
We had that back in
all right.
Wait, what are we?
Well, I had taken it out when we were, we're on number, we should start at the top, but we're at number 7.
Here's examples of the galvanized.
And I had crossed out
That is kind of good.
common recommended durable sign options include wood, composite, stone, copper, brass. And I had crossed out galvanized steel because I thought it was gonna be like, I pictured a galvanized steel thing with painted, but she showed pictures of.
If that's the case, then that we have to use those as encourage, discourage, so somebody just doesn't think they can put.
We could do that for galvanized, use some of the black ones.
Okay, want me to add that picture?
Yeah, that would be. No, we have to find a discouraged one. And they don't rust, correct?
Galvanized those over time, right?
Well, galvanized is usually.
Coated.
It's zinc coated steel.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not as good as stainless steel, but it lasts a long time.
yeah, because that's the one thing that, again, you look down the road when things are,
But we do have a thing saying that if they're deteriorated, the zoning enforcement officer can go out and tell them to replace them.
fine.
Alright. So I added 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
It's coming over.
Were those mine, the red ones?
Yeah, those are yours, mine blue.
I tried to call out a couple extras just so they could read what we have in our bylaws, like,
We'd add newly constructed building to your bullet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I was afraid people would. So we have a lot of circumstances where people need special permits. When they're occupying one of those strip mall spaces. And I wanted it to be clear that they weren't going to be required to supply an extra plan. For the entire mall, when they're just like a hair salon going into a single mall space. So that's why it's newly constructed.
I pulled it straight from the bylaw. Like, do you think we could change the bylaw then too, or leave it going, so? This is explaining.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we're not really enforcing that, because it just doesn't make sense. That they would have to come up with a plan for the entire mall. So,
No, that should be something changed. We have a lot of bylaws we don't enforce. I
I
don't,
just added, the ones in red, I added from the bylaw that I thought were important. Because they are from the bylaws. And I don't think people, when they come through and do a plan, ever read a lot about the signage or what to do. So like the signage shall be related in size, scale, color, overall design
Mhm.
to its character and location. Like, when you're designing a, coming from the planning board, I don't think they go into that much detail, but if it's in here, they might notice it.
Right, well, that's a good, what I wanted to bring this up, especially with this as an example. When you start changing, like, if you look at the side of the building, there's 6 signs.
Yeah.
And 4 of them are black, and 2 of them are different colors. And I think part of what makes it elegant is to keep it all the same. So if you're keeping the sign, the big sign all the same, then those 2 pieces should be black. Cause as you look across, as you're coming down the front, those are all black.
Yep, that would look better.
And then.
But I don't know if we have that as a bylaw, that would have to be added, right? And that's,
Well, it should be, we should make a note to add it.
or you can add it as a guideline.
Yeah, we can add it as a.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably better, so it's kind of like,
Under freestanding signs or.
So you're saying that they,
If they were all black. Because their sign is all black. Right? It looks better. When you pop the colors in there.
I don't know, I.
or it's hard because you take away from the
Well,
creativity of the owner.
Well, there's certain cultures that use colors versus addresses.
Well, see, that's their main,
That doesn't look good. That reminds me of Family Feud.
well, that's what happens when you have a lot of stores on the sign. You have to have, if
Can I
you
see
want
it?
to have conformity. All right,
Yeah.
well, sorry, let's see, it's 4 X's. 3 X's you go out, but that's part of what's expected right now. Right, because we have a lot of those. We have this one, this one.
Mhm.
This is the other one that's at the Pickle House.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're driving. To see all this there is one I'm gonna take a picture. There's one that's multicolored. Everybody has a little different thing. It's just like jarring. And I can't even read it. I can read this a lot faster going down the road because you're not looking at color, you're just looking at the logo and the name.
Can you send
But
me,
if it was light and leisure, they'd have a perfect sign.
can you send me one of those photos with all the black? And I can put that in the freestanding sign
Okay,
section.
like this one, like, is that what you? That's what you mean?
Yeah, that or the other one.
Or the other one? You want?
Either one.
Let me see, send me both, and then I'll just decide which one.
Okay.
Or whichever one.
Well, I think this has got trees next to it and,
Okay.
Oh, that's the
So it's gotta be
landscaping
that
underneath.
landscape,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the lighting. I've tried taking this picture a few times and couldn't
All right.
get the right lighting, so.
Do you want me to cut off the wires?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys have time to read the red pieces that I added. I struck through the sentence in the first one because it kind of was said in that other one that's the bylaw. Did anybody else have any concerns, questions?
I was wondering why you struck projecting or blade sign from the sign types, Mary?
Oh, I think I just did it because we don't allow them yet. We're gonna have to,
We do allow them,
It didn't,
it didn't, we didn't
because
have,
it's in our sign bylaw.
it's listed as a type, but we don't allow them. Like, just like how there are other ones listed that aren't, they're not listed under where we have allowed and disallowed. It's just a definition.
yes, I remember that because there was discussion about.
Yeah, because we have them. There are a couple of places that have projecting signs.
That may have come in before the bylaw change or,
I just think there are some signs in town, just like the awning signs that just go up and
like, true.
and maybe Bob just considered the projecting sign a wall sign. Or it was before his time, so whoever the building inspector was,
Right.
just,
Yeah, because Northborough Liquors. those are two projecting, well, those would be considered blade, even though,
That's a roof sign.
Yeah,
but doesn't it come this way?
no, well, I mean, maybe there is one too, but I.
A projector, like a blade sign hangs.
Yeah, shingle, you hang a shingle, that's, yeah, you have a post and you
Okay.
hang it, like the eyeglass places,
Yeah,
the haberdashery, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a picture.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, there are some where there are definitions, but they're not in there, like even window sign was defined but never included in all this.
Hmm. See, this is one of the attractive walkouts from the store. With the-
But we can add it back in if we go forward with the second part of the window. I plan on going forward with the next section of the window, I mean the sign bylaws.
So you want to delete the whole section on projecting signs?
I know, but it's only because it's not in the bylaws, so I hate to
Well,
promote it if we don't allow it.
can't do it, if the, planning board.
Right, the next will be the next. We had it all coming forth at this last year town meeting, but I was recommended that to cut it in half because I overwhelmed town meeting with too many changes at once. So I did half the sign bylaw and next year I'll do the other half,
Well, we're on edge then anyway, so.
Yeah, we didn't know if he'd be there.
but it did pass,
Yeah.
surprisingly.
So another thing, all right, do you wanna jump into, do we wanna do a couple more sign things
She
or?
only has no time left.
Right, so do we want to finish this so I can finish and like,
It's. It's, oh, yeah, there's one more red thing.
I'm on page 22.
It's recommended that.
So there's just a couple more. So I guess that means we'd have to. Take out the pictures, of the projecting signs too, just until it passes the town meeting. We could do it in the fall, but I don't know if people could handle signs in the fire station, the same meeting.
All right, well,
Cause whichever way one goes, the other will go, probably,
yeah,
be all in or all out.
that's true.
Did we
Maybe
do the
open.
window signs last year?
We did, window signs,
I think that's a smaller area.
it was like 10% of the overall facade of the windows, okay?
You could leave the section in there and said if you want a sign like this, request a variation.
Variance.
So you don't have to delete it all.
But it's funny, because we had a discussion with town council. And it's a hard leg to find a use variance for a sign, because it's not a use.
Right, and there's no hardship.
Well, I mean, projecting signs would be if you have a strip mall or something like that, you're walking down the sidewalk in front of it, they all hang down, so you know what's in there.
Hmm.
Right.
All
I
right,
said
well,
it was a hard, because it has to do with the soil shape or topography,
Hmm.
but I guess if this, well, it's not really the soil, it's the way the
yeah.
mall is laid out.
Well, before we run, because I wanted Laurie to see these two. So
yeah.
based on, you can pull that over, based on the three signs on the left is what the standard signs we have going around. Well, the top and the bottom, we already have. Okay,
Yeah, the police and.
the police, well, those, yeah, we already
Those
have.
are terrible.
So the Peasley one at the bottom is really, it's a beautiful sign. I think it's got depth to it and everything else. So I spoke to the man who did that. And he was the same man who did the South Grow sign that's white above it. And he made this up for me last night as a courtesy with 3 different sizes. So that this being the one that's at Peasley, this would be the one that would be at the police station or a smaller area. So he's got the dimensions on here. all of these can be interchanged. This is a selection page of saying, what would you like it to be? So that he made this blue just because, okay, let's say you wanted to have blue, you could do blue. Say you wanted to do blue, and if you like this sign, which was like the Southborough sign, you would do this, you could either have everybody's in blue, or you could have the police in blue, the fire in green if their doors are green, or red if their doors are red. Or you could take this one, and instead of being a green background, it could be a blue background, it could be a gray background.
Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit of variety is good. So you could specify the fact that it has to have like granite pillars and that it has to be
Correct.
an engraved sign, and then let the rest be tailored to whatever
Well,
the
the
desires are.
Granite or
This-
brick?
Well,
Those items.
Yeah.
no, I mean, the granite, but the shape would be the same.
I think what Lisa's saying is, at the last fire station meeting,
Yeah.
they were discussing the sign because the electronic one was. So they're like, one of the people said, well, the town is coming up with a way to do signs at all the municipal buildings, so you're just talking about municipal buildings, not
Right.
commercial.
Right.
So
Yeah,
they
so-
said to go to the design review and come up with an idea of what municipal sign they're gonna do, so the new
Yeah.
town hall would have it, and even the old town hall could have it.
Right.
And the new fire station, so everybody has a,
Well, you know, they got a sign that they're submitting for Tuesday night. It's in your packet with still that brick.
right, cause they went in a big circle, like the fire station meeting. The chief and Dawn and even Mitch are like. They didn't care about the sign as much, they care about the fire station. And they're like, Dawn, and someone said that, you know, this should be simple. But in the end, the architects can convince them to go forth with the brick one, which is funny because the rest of the committee said the town is looking into signs for all municipal buildings, so let's just have the fire station match what is selected.
Right, well, that was the point, and that was up to us, the design review would then come forward and say, okay, you can come up with something that you like. So this gives you the options of different color, different shape, different layout. But once you pick what you want, the layout stays the same. The sign, the shape stays the same, but you could change the color if you
Color
wanted
this
to,
one.
like the police, where the town hall could be in black. And that could be in blue with a stripe around it. But because once you see this and this, when you're driving by and you see them, you're not gonna necessarily remember it was blue on police and black on the town offices, but you are gonna remember the shape. You're gonna remember it's a white background. You're gonna remember it's between two pillars
Yeah.
and it's the same size. So,
But do the pillars have to be the same granite? I mean, cause if you did, the fire station,
yeah,
if they wanna do brick, I mean, they can do brownstone instead, maybe.
No.
Still manage to build it.
no, you want to keep conformity to the signs because you want to show unity in the town.
I'm just saying that. The pillars could be different colors, like the signs are different colors.
So it should be, but
So
I
cuts
prefer to keep it more simple, like the one at Peasley School. I would like to see all the schools look like that. It's a beautiful sign. It's just, you know, it's a little bit different. We could have a sign like that. A small one, doesn't have to be that size.
Who's gonna make the final decision, like, is design review gonna forward something to the board of selectmen?
Well, I would think we
Or-
could do that. We could narrow down, or if you like it, I'm gonna change a little of this. He wasn't able to get me even prices, which I was kind of hoping he would, but I talked to him yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning. It was fabulous to do this. When you're deciding something and looking at it, you wanna see it. So, yeah, what I would do is have a picture of the say that Southborough sign. You know, if you like the curve, if you like the white, the simplicity of that one, that is carved. In the inside letters, so your decision on what color you want that to be carved. But it's the white sign, it's the pillars on the side that match. It's the sides that could match, or if you're in a position of a bigger building. I think the schools are great with that size, but we don't have enough frontage on anything else to carry that size.
Yeah, like I know the high school, they have that electric message
I know,
center, so
yeah,
they're
but
probably
that's,
gonna stay with
that's
that.
stay with it.
Class,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's class, well, it's the second, because my class,
Oh,
the
it's
first one,
It's gonna be.
Yeah.
I have seen some signs, particularly for like elementary schools where they add some like cute little engraved
kids stuff.
images, like maybe kids holding hands or which
I've
I
seen-
think is cute. I
I've seen
think
crosswalks like that,
Yeah.
and I will like the crosswalks like that, because it brings attention to the fact that there are children who could be in the road slowing traffic down.
Yeah.
But,
Like maybe a little bit of flexibility, like if they wanted to, like here you've got the town seal on it,
Yeah.
but maybe. If they wanted to have artwork instead.
well, that's for the schools, for sure. The top of the schools, is there whatever that's the panda? I mean, so
Proctor
the,
is a penguin,
yeah, so the schools are,
use
that's,
their own,
that would be their own sign. But because he made both, we could have that in a smaller version, because I like this. I thought that was kind of nice, but the smooth sign, which you see above it, is classier, obviously, it's more.
I like the engraved look.
Yeah, it's so, yeah, the other one's raised letters, where the other ones are engraved letters. Then you can decide too whether or not you wanna do like what the senior center had, where it's engraved with the gold letters, because we have the gold on our trucks.
I feel like the white and black shows more if I'm driving by.
I do like that, I mean, I like this shape.
Than the green and the gold.
Yeah, I mean.
The
It's
green
green
and gold is kind of like, ugh, but,
What are the school colors? Are they maroon and gold?
Hmm,
Yeah, yeah,
High
but
school
that's-
is, what is it?
it's
blue and
maroon-
gold, and
maroon,
no, that's maroon.
For middle school, it's different colors.
they were yellow
Oh.
and black for a while. when
Yeah,
we were
yeah,
the
that's right,
road
all
runners.
Oh
Yes,
my
I remember the
God.
two.
Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'll put them on a different page, so you can, so you can make the selection. And I mean, in general. I like this for the schools, I like this for us. Because, you know, here's the other one that's the senior center, that's taller as well, see how low.
So would you
just lower to the ground.
Replace this, or would you leave that?
Well, right now, the sign is peeling. Like if you look at the
But
top.
they're all
it's
similar
lower.
enough, I don't know if you need to make them.
This allows you to do some shrubs or something underneath.
Which is encouraging.
Right, yes, well, that's what, I mean, that's what we wanna do is find something, but Mark, to the point of why are we bothering to do it is to create a. To create a theme, so to speak, I mean, when you talk about, like Laurie wants to do a sign, what were you talking about that was?
Signing facade,
Yeah.
I mean, the
Wait.
branding.
Yeah, branding, so this is part of the branding, this is part of saying, what's your style for the town?
Mhm.
And you can't have it all over the place, I mean, certain ones can have a little bit more than others, but when it's a municipal building, it should be a municipal building. So I don't think you need to put a fire truck on the fire one. And I don't think you need to put a, you know.
Yeah, but you do that with colors though, I mean,
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, if you wanted to, police could be blue, fire could be red. Or it could be green, depending on what's their facade or the doors or whatever that you wanted to carry it through.
yeah, but I say, as far as the circle on top of the arch, I think different buildings could have different things, and it'd still be on theme.
I kind of like that too, like where the type of sign is the same, but then you can have variety with the buildings themselves, like they all don't have to be this shape. They could be this shape or this shape or,
Or, yeah,
this
a
shape,
point
you
on
know.
top, or,
Hmm,
I mean,
so then you know you got an engraved sign,
as long as you've got the two pillars and the sign in the middle,
yeah,
and you probably, these would have lights in the ground.
Yeah.
Going up,
yeah.
because it'd be hard to switch it to an electronic sign, you'd have to use brick for that, to run a conduit.
You don't want
They're
to,
still
like,
holding
we don't
it.
wanna do that, mister, throw another monkey wrench in the
Just having
conversation.
fun.
Yeah.
Mitch did have a conversation with them at the fire station meeting that said, you know, because they're putting the brick with, they were trying to figure out what's the placeholder while they wait for their electronic sign.
Yes.
But Mitch is
That's the
like,
variety.
it would be a big decision on where the electronic sign is gonna be, downtown, it might not even be there. So he was trying to tell them to go with the sign. you know, and not wait, because they said, well, maybe the bylaws will change, and he's like, yeah, maybe in 15 years, or maybe the electronic sign won't even be in that location. And he agreed, and Don and the chief did, but it's funny, the architects are like, no, I wanna go forward with this. I don't know,
I'd
yeah,
say some of the electronic signs are getting so good, you can make them look just like this and then they.
That's very true. I mean, Hudson has one like that.
We have
And
a super fancy one in Millbury that has like a cabinet that looks like a historic building.
Yeah, kind of like art, I mean, you don't know where the wall ends and where the
Right.
sign starts.
right, I mean, at one point, we should have something like that to give us information, but what I'm trying to create is what you had talked about, you brand it and what do you want to have in the branding, so you decide whether or not you do the pillars, you want to, how high above the land you want it so that you can put your landscaping, because this is in a stone wall with a plant and one probably that died. But I like the plant. I mean, I think the plant helps. Bring some, this, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like I'm driving into a 1940s motel.
See, I really think that's the old Westboro Savings Bank sign.
So, I mean, that's,
They probably did reuse it. You know,
I'm
we're
sure,
doing cheap on everything else,
Yeah.
let's use
yeah.
a secondhand sign.
So that's what, I mean, do you want me to read, when are we meeting in a month? And I kind of want to get this part done.
Vacation, so I'm not gonna be able to attend, but Bob might be here. So I'm gonna need somebody else. to-
Quarter past.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do wanna be able to like, I wanna, if we're gonna do something like this, I wanna bring it up Tuesday night with the planning board,
Right.
because we're deciding on the sign. But we could leave we could have a condition like the sign would. Just come back, you know, cause this fire station, if it's approved, isn't gonna be built till next year, like, it can come back to the design review or to the planning board. When this sign concept is, you know, we're,
Finalized.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're
I mean,
talking
this-
about wayfaring in downtown right now, and
Right.
it's finalized. And like everybody in that room said, they didn't want to spend 2 hours on the sign, cause that isn't the main point of
Right,
getting the
that's not
fire
the
station done.
Right,
Okay.
Cause they don't
And I
wanna
think
die in the
it's-
hill for something as small as a sign.
Well, last time they didn't even know where they wanted to put the sign, so did they figure that out yet?
Yeah.
Cause they were just talking about the
Oh,
sign
okay.
type, yeah, type of sign.
but this to me gives you choices. I can rearrange
Email it
some
to
of
us.
those, yeah, I'll email
Yeah.
it to for our discussion. And I just think that,
Oh, yeah, minutes, oh my gosh, sorry. Alright, quickly, did anybody, we'll start with the minutes from April 11th, 2024. Did everybody have a chance to read them? Honestly, I did.
I had no problem with
Do you have any problem with them?
it. I move to accept the meeting minutes of April 11th, 2024.
Second,
As amended, were they?
I did do an amendment to each one of them, I think.
As amended, sorry, as amended.
Okay, roll call, oh, no, we don't have the roll call. Okay, April 16th. Do I hear a motion to approve the April 16 minutes as amended?
I will make a motion to approve the April 16th, 2024 minutes as amended.
second,
Okay,
All those in favor?
all those in favor? No, do you guys want to take a chance and read 5-9? I don't know, that might have been the shortest, but it's not. If you,
Let's wait on the 5.
yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with them. It's gonna be July, so we have time to read them if you want.
Is that okay, Michelle?
I think they were super short, right? Was that, what meeting was that? I don't remember now.
All I know is I was told to bring these things to the meeting. I brought them to the meeting.
We'll add.
Please put me down as doing my job.
Lori, are you on? I thought
Oh, it was
you-
the cover.
the cover.
In the minutes, it said that you
Which is
did.
the
public
There you
for-
go.
I am.
Did it.
Oh.
Right.
Which is
yes,
this
that's right.
I said I would do something.
All right, so we'll meet again in, what's the
I
day,
appreciate
June?
you pointing.
July,
July 11th.
July 11th, and Lori, you can't be here. Do you want to meet the week after? Lori's on vacation the week of July 11th. Do you guys want to just meet the week after?
Sure.
I think we're pretty easy unless someone's away.
Hopefully we'll have.
Maybe
some
take
new people.
Vacation sounds.
it.
Don't wanna wait till-
No, I'm going to. What?
July 18th.
July
is the
18th.
next date.
So that. And if it doesn't work, someone figures it out, just let us know. But for right now, let's plan on July
What's our
18th.
That's our next meeting?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So if you guys could send me those photos that we talked about, and then I'll update the guidelines for the changes we discussed today.
So I'm gonna give you the sign on 290 West Street. And,
You were gonna give me some awnings without words,
Oh,
if you
okay.
could.
But
yeah,
And I
right.
think you took a whole bunch when you were in
They did.
Hudson,
And
so
Clinton, yeah, and
if you
Hudson.
have any without words that are nice.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
all right,
Awesome.
and then, is there any way we can find the blueprints
want
to the
dentist
on 60 South?
No.
I know Michelle tries.
The medium.
Okay.
Three
Well,
separate.
we can look. I'll also put my
we
thinking
still
cap
take-
on to see
Oh,
if I can, did you guys motion to adjourn?
Yeah,
To see if I can think of other ones that you might like, and then you'll have a choice,
Okay,
which one you wanna
all
go
right,
with.
because